Nancy says, I never thought you liked to, what did you say?
Be in front of an audience.
Dramatic?
I can't see you talking in front of
Did you have the lead role? I did have the lead in an 8th grade play.
What was the name?
I was ever in was in the 6th grade. I don't remember the name of it, but it was a stupid little play. I did have the lead. Is that your pie?
Something just dinged.
What do you want me to do? Turn it off
I
and
think
leave
we'll
it?
turn it. It had 5 more minutes that we could.
Well, she's gone, guy.
Got me stuck in my face. Now you're Margie.
Go back over real quick those people that you'd forgotten.
Who was I talking about?
You're talking about
Oh, and Ada.
Actually, a Ada.
Remember Aunt Ada?
You remember Aunt
No, I never heard of an Ada.
Now, the neighbors wondering what happened. She was Grandma's aunt.
You said Grandpa Beatty was a really great catch and married the prettiest girl in where?
Married the most beautiful girl in Middletown. And,
But she's no blood relative to ours because his wife had died, right?
no, his wife, the first wife was the one that, yeah, the one that died. And then the second, she was the most.
What was her name?
Emma.
Emma what?
Emma Murphy. Yeah.
What was she the antecedent?
She was
Was she the one who gave birth to
to Grandma.
To Grandma.
Oh, okay.
Grandma's real grandma. And then Grandpa.
Grandma's real mother.
Oh, yeah. And then Grandpa had 4 children to care for, so we had to get a housekeeper in to help him with the 4 children, because Grandma was 8, and there was one older than Grandma, must have been about 10, and then 2 younger than Grandma. So then, after a little bit, then they married, and she was very nice, Grandma B. Her name was Margaret McCormick.
Now you really got, is Grandma Beatty the one that was the prettiest girl in Middletown?
No,
That was
Her father's wife was the prettiest girl in Middletown.
That was my mother. My mother's mother was the prettiest girl.
All right.
the first
Grand-
wife.
First wife or the second wife?
First wife.
Second
Oh,
wife was
okay.
the fourth.
She was the mother of all the children. They
I
had
see.
5 children, but then one died. And one died. And was buried with her, James. And then there was Bill and Miriam. And then mother's older sister, Evelyn.
Who are your 2 cousins that live near Middletown?
Gloria, what's her, I know her married name. Oh, Gloria.
It'll come up on the fishing net.
Yeah, she was Evelyn's daughter. Evelyn married Ed Fitzgerald, and then they had 3 children. Ed Jr., who's been dead for 15, 20 years, and then Charlie, he's the one down there in Old Saybrook, and Gloria. I don't know her name.
You think about that for a minute. Scott, what's the earliest thing you can remember of in your whole life?
Earliest thing. I think mother and father were going out, and I had a babysitter. And I was in their front room. I must have been 3 or less.
We didn't have babies.
And I remember crying, and I remember looking out that window on the side by the garage, and then leaving.
Oh,
what a sad story. Well, I
No,
cried.
don't tell me anymore. Who was the baby?
I don't know. I was really
Oh, I
young.
bet it
And I
was Ann.
couldn't even talk.
Oh,
It was really
oh.
We have that picture,
we
Nancy.
all have one of those kind of memories.
Don't
Yeah.
tell
we
me.
do.
What's yours, Greg?
Walking up the back with my parents up a hill in the trail in New Zealand. And it was right before my sister was born. And we went up for a walk with my grandparents.
So how old were you?
I was probably 2, 2.5.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Anything exciting happen on the walk?
No, nothing
Okay.
exciting.
You have to give
Lisa?
me a while to think.
Nancy? You remember standing in the bed saying, "Go up, mommy, and go up, daddy"?
Oh,
Yeah, I remember being at grandma's, but I don't know if it was visiting or if it was when we still lived there, but there was a gray cat. It was your cat.
Was
And
Mike?
it was so big that I remember thinking I could get on it and ride it.
Oh,
I'm sure it was just a regular
Oh,
sized
yeah,
cat.
I have pictures of that, yeah.
But I don't, would that have been when we still lived there? Or?
Yeah, yeah.
But when I was about 2.
We're at that.
Oh.
Ridgeview Avenue.
Richview, yeah, then you were only 2. You were, well, then maybe that came along later. Maybe
Margie?
you were visiting.
What was yours?
I don't have an early memory.
Well, you work on it too, but that's, you and your daughter, it's running in the family.
I can remember when I was older, maybe 5 or 6.
Well, that's it. Your earliest memory.
My earliest memory. At home or at my grandparents?
Any place.
Anywhere. I can remember being at my grandparents' house with all my brothers and sisters and cousins and just being outside and having fun and running around her house. She probably threw us out of the house to stay outside.
Where was
There were
that?
so many.
Where was the house?
The house was on Brook Street in Bridgeport.
David?
I remember my 3rd birthday. I remember sitting at the head of the table in the dining room with a cake in the middle of the table. I remember the walls, I remember the picture window and the light. And I remember singing happy birthday, and I sang happy birthday to me. And that's my oldest memory.
Okay, I remember one of mine.
Okay.
I must have been like 4 or 5. And I had to go to swimming lessons in the summertime, and my mom forced me to go so bad. I didn't want to go, and I cried and I sat in my room.
Did you
On
go?
my bed.
You went?
Mhm. And I finally went.
Okay.
You had to learn to swim though?
Now, you remember that, you remember that name?
Camera, wait a minute.
About yours?
Bert?
Oh, gee.
Come on, just hold it and.
I don't know what the first one would be. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first one is, I remembered a nightmare. It was a recurring nightmare until I was about 10 or 15 years old. But I remember the first time, and my parents were having some sort of a party or something at South Park Street. And South Park Street was way, way back there.
In Wheeling?
It was like 2 or 3, yeah. And I remember, and I don't know if it was a combination of the food they gave me or if it was the 4th of July, but there were fireworks going off and there were cars running off the suspension bridge and dropping into the water. And it was absolutely terrifying. I remember walking out into the kitchen and the linoleum floor was there. And over the years, whenever I was stressed, I would have this terrible nightmare that I couldn't close my
Cars
eyes.
falling off the bridge?
No, it settled into just an ominous feeling, and then one day it went away, but I couldn't close my eyes because these things would happen, so I'd lay there and then not be able to go to sleep. That's a funny memory.
Maybe you were having caffeine or something from soda.
I don't know what it was, but it was early and it was very traumatic, whatever it was.
I always had this nightmare of a gorilla chasing me.
All right.
It reoccurred all the time. I had it probably 4 or 5 times a year until I was maybe 12 or something.
I had a dream or a nightmare about an ogre. I didn't know what an ogre was, but I must have seen something on television or
Or a fairy
a
tale.
fairy tale was read to me, but I remember that word, and there was this horrible, ugly man in my dream.
Oh.
And he would come pop up every once in a while.
Oh, gee.
I remember, I think I'd wake up and I'd call, Mommy, Mommy, and you'd come upstairs and you'd sleep with me.
I remember another one when I was 4 years old, and I'll never forget, I was laying in the room, and I was in my bed, and my parents had left me with a babysitter, but the babysitter was there and would keep coming up to the room, and I was inconsolable, and there were clothes hanging on the doorknob, and you could see these clothes, and they looked like a shape of something. And I got myself worked into this frenzy, and I just remember, I think I cried for like 3 hours at the top of my lung until they came back. Sorry, it was my.
We mothers don't even know our kids are crying. Like,
I used to dream that I was this,
I think that was Ann.
that the gravity was different,
Because see,
and
Nancy
that I
wouldn't have
was
been
like
old enough
really
to
big
babysit.
and really heavy, like
Three.
really big, but I had these tiny little feet.
Hold just a second.
Who knows?
I remember Ann babysitting.
Nancy.
That's okay. Bert, that's
Not
okay.
very often. We always had Graham and
Oh, I see.
Grandma.
Nancy.
If we couldn't get them and it was something we had to go to, then
Who was Ann Schaefer? Was she the TV?
I'll come back to you.
She was a kid, she was a teenager.
Oh, was Schaefer, wasn't Schaefer the TV repairman then?
Yeah,
Was that his daughter?
yeah.
Who?
Yeah, she was.
Schaefer, yeah, I always remember that as the TV repair.
Yeah.
And you know
He
what?
used to come like twice a year to fix our TV. I'd go 20 years and they don't break.
Yeah. Oh, even more than twice a year. And I remember they would take the tubes
Yeah.
out. They'd say, well, there are 3 tubes have to be replaced. They'd leave the tubes there so you could see that those were no good. And then they put the new ones in. And oh, it was. And they'd just get it fixed, and then another tube would go.
Well, before we get totally off the subject, so how far back did you remember now? You got your grandfather, you could remember your grandfather, right?
Yeah.
And
My
his,
grandfather.
and your great, that's what I didn't understand. Who was he?
That would be my great grandfather in Middletown.
And he's your,
What was his name?
What was his name?
On whose side?
Grandma's.
Beatty. Beatty side. Was he a Beatty?
Yeah. Oh, what was his name? He might have been Charles too. My grandfather was Charles R. Beatty, Charles Richard Beatty.
so this was Charles Beatty's father. And he was how old when you remember him?
He was how old? Goodness sakes, I don't know. I don't know how old.
I mean, he would be quite
But I
elderly.
was just a kid, I remember that. And then he had this little girl with his second wife, and his second wife, Grandma, liked her so much, and she was the one Grandma confided in, and from what I hear, she must have been a very nice woman.
But they had a child that ended up,
Being Grandma's aunt,
Grandma's
Aunt
aunt.
Ruth.
and she was younger than Grandma.
Yes, I think she was a little bit younger.
A couple of years.
Yeah, I think, maybe 1 year only,
Maybe 1
yeah.
year.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And she died quite a while before Grandma. And her husband was in the service. If I thought long enough, I could remember his name, but now I don't. But he left, and he left her home. And I remember Grandma telling me this. Actually, he left her home. She'd play the piano and sing "Wanting You." Yeah.
Grandma would.
Would this be
Not
for what?
no, this
Ruth would.
yeah,
Ruth?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For what war?
World War One.
Did he come home?
Yes, he did. Yeah. He lived for quite a few years. Yeah. And
Okay.
then when
Go ahead.
after he died, she was at loose ends. She lived in North Carolina, Hickory, North Carolina, and she wanted to come and live with Grandma. And we kind of warned her. We said, "Gee, Grandma, don't get involved in anything. Gosh, make certain." And so she had.
In the 60s? I think I remember something about that.
Oh, it must have been the 60s.
Yeah, I think I remember
Oh, it was
something.
after Grandma died. Yeah, it was after.
I think I remember something about
Yeah.
this, yeah.
And we said, Mom, we were so afraid she was going to get involved in that and then be sorry. So Ruth came up to visit for a week. That's all Grandma needed. She couldn't wait for Ruth to go home.
I remember that week.
I also
I don't remember the lady though, but I remember
I
something
remember
about the situation.
And I do remember too that when Grandpa Beatty died, my Grandpa Beatty, in July 1944, and everybody was at our house, and I had a black dress I was going to wear to the funeral, but it was a little wide, it needed hemming, and Ruth said she would hem it. And oh gosh, I thought I wasn't going to be ready in time for the funeral. And I don't know whether I said something to Grandma about, I wonder if it's going to be ready, and whether she overheard or what. Oh, I felt terrible. I'll never forget that night.
Was it ready?
It was ready, but just about.
Okay, David, what's this about you having a different kind of gravity than everybody else? Dave was trying to tell a story, but everybody was having so much fun at this end. We put the story on hold until the storytellers at the other end got
I
done.
just dreamt that I was big. Big, really big, but the gravity was weird because, and I had these little tiny feet, and my legs went down to like these little points, and I used to be able to like jump up to the tops of buildings, but just like boing and land on the ground, just like I'd run and I'd like be off the ground for like 100 feet, and these little triangular legs, little points at the end. I knew it was a recurring dream. I dreamt it all the time. It was fun. Is it common?
I had another gravity dream too. This is weird.
Oh, you're
I
just
was
trying to
able
beat
make
Dave.
it.
Oh,
Dad worked there. This is when I was like maybe 4 years old, and there was no gravity. Suddenly all the motors and everything in the shop started floating in the air and stuff. I was like, wow, this is weird. That's about all I can say about the dream, was there was no gravity and like all things were
But you
floating.
remembered all those
Yeah,
motors?
and I remember there were lawnmowers, like our green lawnmower we had was there, and it was floating.
all right.
I had that dream 2 or 3 times.
So, we already heard about you and the snake. Do you have? Tell me what you thought when Nancy came in with her bad cut leg.
Oh, from the cemetery?
I don't know where she was. She cut
Oh.
her leg right there.
Oh.
See it, everybody?
A little bit
Right?
of blood,
Oh,
Bob?
what a feeling.
Don't move it.
Was
I
it?
Yeah,
was, I
okay.
was at Ebbs for coffee, and you were there. Maybe you weren't born, but Scott was there. And
Yes, not.
Grandma had, he wasn't there, and she had you and
Wait
Tina.
again.
And then Ebbs kept you. I left you there with her, and then Grandma and Grandpa and I went to the doctor.
I
When you were
remember
home.
Grandpa wanted to take me right to the doctor. And I
Oh.
screamed and pitched a fit. I said, I want my mother.
Oh, you did. Oh, did you, hon?
So I came and got you, I guess.
Oh, it was quite a cut, yeah. Oh.
How many stitches?
2.
Yeah, was it only 2?
It's a deep cut. Look at that thing.
Dear, would you mind not?
Focusing. I have a
on my
funny
legs.
thing. too.
Actually, it's you probably want to
There's a
adjust yours.
gouge out of my.
Show that. Okay, who else has a scar they want to see?
How'd you get that one?
I was running to Grandma's
Oh.
porch on Ridgeview Avenue. But
Oh, I can
you know what I did.
feel it
I just-
now.
And it went right down to the bone. It didn't bleed. Went right.
Oh, boy.
Cool.
This would be on
Like passing out
the
on the
side.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Adams' side.
Yeah.
Emma.
Did you have to have it sewn?
No, we didn't do anything. It was right. The hook must have come right out. And it was right.
Like a nice little melon ball.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And so I always said, well, if there was ever any kind of a real bad tragedy and a lot of bodies were around, they could identify mine by that little scar.
Yeah,
Oh, gee.
yeah.
Everybody has to have a scar.
So I think you can put that thing down.
We got 11 more minutes to kill.
Oh, we can save it for.
Did it come on?
Red lights or red lights.
Okay.
There's the headway.
All right. Now, we got 11 minutes for you. We're here at the Red Lion. I wanted to get that sign. I can't get it from here.
So this is good food.
Okay. So,
This is a nice sherry. Oh, that's
is it good? Is it smooth?
delicious. Nice smooth cherry.
All right.
Yes.
Now tell us a few of the
No.
Auntie Edward stories.
No, Mr. Hunter, please.
Okay, I'm going to turn it off.
Okay, you turn it off.
Okay. Now tell us a couple of those Auntie Edmund stories.
I can't remember.
Okay, we'll do that a little later.
Let's see.
Oops. Ouch. Plenty of mosquitoes here.
Look at these trees.
Hey. Oh, Nancy. We're Oh, they're biting. They getting you?
Oh yeah, one just got down in my shirt, I think.
They getting you, Nance? And you're tough.
Off on. Yeah. Before we started out. I guess.
They're everywhere. I can't even stop. Hey, Laura. That's a lot bigger than I.
Be sure and walk the Ledges Trail, Eaton Trail, and Bailey Trail. Farm diversity.
Your cute little finches have been chased away, Nancy. Uh-oh, everything's chased away. There they went. Oh, they're pulling me already. Come on over. What did you used to do? And tell us about Annie Ev.
I've forgotten all of those stories I told.
Annie Ev won't. We need to give her another sherry, Nancy. And she'll talk. Annie Ev wouldn't stop. This wouldn't have even been good enough for her, right?
Auntie Ed,
at the end. Oh boy, those things bite quick.
Housatonic Meadows Park.
Housatonic Meadows Park. And the minute we got here, all the boats scurried away. Can you see it? No. Okay, I'll go from here. Yep. I don't know. Yeah, that's a rock. Oh, there they are. There they are.